Welcome back to Builds Not Projects. This week we're going to get started by wrapping the exhaust for the trike. So we've got some of this exhaust wrap soaking in water. I like to soak it in water. You can get it tighter that way when you're putting it on, and you just don't get like the fiberglass dust all over the place, and then you don't end up all itchy and everything. So we're going to go ahead and start wrapping. Well, after about 3 hours of painting and wrapping the exhaust, they're finally done. Wrapping those pipes is definitely a pain, would not recommend. But they look cool and they're done, so that's a plus. Now we're gonna move on and get started on the CAD work for the gas tank. So we ended up pulling the whole like triple clamp and fork assembly off of this thing so we could get at this a little better, to cut all of the extra brackets off and grind it all nice and smooth, so that way when we put the gas tank in there isn't a bunch of extra stuff on the inside, and then it'll make it easier for putting the gauges and stuff in as well. This little bit here has kind of bothered me ever since I got it put together a little bit, but it made it so much easier to set it up to start with and line everything up that that's why I did it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little pie section out here, and then I'll just fold that bottom plate up in, seam it up, and then I think it'll make it flow a little better, because I was kind of trying to come up with a good way to kind of fill that in, but I don't really want to fill all of this in, so I think that's the best option at this point. So we'll get that cut out, filled up, and then we'll be able to get back on doing the gas tank. After a few hours of grinding and welding and cutting, and then more grinding, this bit's all fixed. All the rest of the stuff is chopped off and smoothed out. So now we'll be able to continue with building the gas tank, and we'll be able to actually put it in. It's going to be a lot easier to do it with all of the front tire assembly off anyways, so that's kind of a plus. Gas tank or tanning thing? Not too sure, but we'll find out. So we've got these 4 pieces made, the bottom kind of bit, and then the top plate, as well as the 2 long sides. We need to cut another tunnel apart tomorrow in the daylight to get the very top and the bottom portion there, which we just ran out of aluminum out of that tunnel, so we'll cut some more off. And we can do that. I went through and used a flap disc to remove all of the paint and old stickers and stuff that were on it. Probably should have put a respirator on for that. I'll try to remember to do that next time. But tunnels, definitely probably not the greatest thing to use, because they have a whole bunch of holes in them for whatever reason, from people mounting different things to it and putting drop brackets on it and all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to definitely have my work cut out for me for filling all these holes. but should work. Back out here at the old tunnel that we chopped part of the back half off. So it's got underfoot coolers on it, so I can't cut those off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just chop right down there, chop the top out as much as I can, and then that'll give us more aluminum for other builds as well. Alright, so we ordered this aluminum weld-on filler neck, so we're going to go ahead and get it mounted. It's going to be somewhere in this region, and then we may end up using some of this aluminum tubing that I think was for a light fixture of some kind. I'm going to use that to fill in the gap there, get it chopped in. Got one more hole to fill in, and then we can finish grinding all of the rest of the holes that got filled in and go back through, re-weld all the seams, and maybe build some mounts and stuff for it.
I'm gonna salvage another part from No Man's Land. It's always really nice when stuff falls back there.
You'd think I'd learn.
Maybe we should block it off at some point.
It won't happen again.
Oh.
So we used a little bit of the snowmobile tunnel there, and then just kind of wrapped it around to build a little bit of a spacer, because this tubing here is a little smaller than the inside of the cap that we ordered. So we'll go ahead and get that tacked on, make sure everything lines up good, and then we can cut out this tank as well and weld it all on. Alright, so I got a little line marked out here. Gonna go ahead and cut it out, and then that way I can build a strap to go across the front to mount the tank, and then I'll build one or maybe two more depending on how much of this thicker aluminum I have, so that way we can get that tank mounted. So we got the filler neck is all done. Lid goes on and off nice. And then put in a little barbed fitting here so I can run a little 3/16 clear tube down for a vent. And then I'll probably kind of maybe route it up first a little bit so it doesn't just like overflow if we fill it completely full. But also got a barb on the bottom for the outlet to the back, and then got all of these mounting bracing on and mounted up. I just used a few self-tappers for now. After I drill them, it'll get riveted on later on. It'll look a little cleaner, but we gotta take that thing back off, fill it all full of water, make sure it doesn't leak anywhere, and if it does, go back through, fix those little cracks or whatnot, and then the gas tank will be done. Alright, we got this gallon jug of water. That way we can kind of measure how much this thing holds as well. So we're gonna dump this one in and then go outside to the old spigot and get some more if we need more. So we're gonna start dumping. Well, so far there's about 5 spots that leak. One on the bottom, a couple on the sides, a couple on the top. So we'll go ahead and get those fixed up, and then we'll try it again. The only issue with doing the water is larger than like gasoline. So I figured out on the last gas tank I did, it didn't leak with any water, put gas in it, and it ended up leaking. So then you've got gas in it that you got to rinse out and deal with all of that. But this is a good way to get the majority of them first. So we'll do that, and hopefully when we end up putting gas in it, then it doesn't end up leaking. We got gas tank. Yep, finally done. It only took a couple weeks, way too long, but definitely would not build a gas tank out of a snowmobile tunnel again. That was way too big of a pain than what it was worth. I should have just went and bought some aluminum plate, but should work anyways. So that's finally done. All of this front bit got done in this video, so that's awesome. We'll be able to put the front end back on in the next video, and then also the exhaust wrap's all done. So we're getting closer. Definitely got a lot left to do, but we're making good progress. So stay tuned for next video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you already haven't, and thanks for watching.